and recognizing when you're about to try to make a play with it, and they will block you so often that you literally think that they're cheating, but they're not. They're just better than you.
Throwing the wall right up in his face. Courage Stradamus, they're predicting the ending way before we even saw it, just out of a kind of gut reaction. I mean, you know, Courage, definitely trust the gut. Got it going there. Always leads him well. I mean, I wasn't going there. All right.
Sorry, I forgot I wasn't casting with Lupo. Lupo would have definitely gone there.
No, that was just a great gut instinct. That's what happens from a veteran caster who's been, you know, watching competitive games for years now. As we're on board here with Death Row Crazy K, and not a bad loadout, but not great either, as he gets chipped out and has to use the last of his minis.
Mm-hmm. And it looks like Crazy is having a deliberation with himself right now. Do I try to build my way to the zone, or do I riff this? Because you saw there was materials left behind, and Crazy is kind of in like a moment where he's looking to kind of force his way through it, just builds, it appears.
For years now.
Has lost all the shields so far.
With Death Row Crazy,
he's looking really indecisive. So
initially what it looked like he wanted to do was kind of the chipped out and has to Tifu cloak, take all of the extra materials, tunnel out, and then double back to it.
Yep.
And he did that initially, but then a bunch of action happened to his right, and then he wanted to get involved with that, and instead it just ends up with him getting chipped, and then not being able to double back for his own builds.
Yeah, and so he's like now just lower on mats. Thankfully, he does get that elimination on the Minzo, but still, it was one of those where you can't hesitate. You know, either way, with that elimination right there, does put him a little bit back, a little bit more of a favorable position. And immediately, I mean, it's crazy to see how the meta has developed since I was last here a couple weeks ago, where it is not even a hesitation. You pick up the combat shotgun when it's there. A couple weeks ago, you could have gotten away with the tac shotgun or made an argument for it. Now, nope, not the case anymore.
Yeah, and again, the players adjust to how it's going over, and what it is for these guys, getting used to the rate of fire, getting used to that tighter spread, kind of the longer range, and then the tac really feeling like it doesn't necessarily make up for as much of the close range difference.
Yeah.
Right? And so feeling that because these players are that accurate, that the close range benefits of the tac don't really outweigh pretty much everything else the combat is doing better for this state of the game.
2 rifts for Astro right now. Sat it up in the box, peeking on through. One more player goes down, you get placement points. Will someone drop on our screen?
Oh, Soren is on literally no HP, and Zaggy goes down right there, and Meta gets picked up, and here's that combat shotgun. You can see him aiming down sights the entire time, whether that's holding LT or that R2, and yes, the corner of the airship will be in play.
It's not, after the zone 5, the slipstreams are shut off for moments like this. A brilliant decision from Epic to shut them down, because right now, if everyone was going through this, trust me, all hell would be breaking loose, as everyone would be floating up and down. So I think a lot of people are just going to dodge that airship for now, unless they have a means of dropping down without taking fall damage.
But now we have Lenuf, who qualified with Quentin in the last game there. Great Kuna stare replace into the edit. Bala would be proud, but then you can't lose control, and he says, don't need control, I'm just going straight forward, into the box, into your ramp, doesn't matter. High five, here's my shotgun.
And it's kind of funny. I think Lenuf thought right there at that moment, if this opponent hasn't placed a trap on one of these walls yet, then they don't have one. So just said, let's do it. Went right in the box, didn't waste time. A little bit of a risk, but you know what? It pays off with dividends. Doesn't get pushed by the storm, earns all the materials needed, engages, and gets the elimination that they so desire.
And also gets him into the top 15 with a great power position here on the edge of the zone. Nobody is near his side, which means he can only cover one direction, and then just look back and rain shots on these guys. I mean, look at him. Every second he gets, he's checking the side, aiming down sights with a combat shotgun, and ripping through people. There's Crazy K going down outside of the top 10 now.
Top 10 scenario. Balasconi's so weak. There you go. Lenuf with the elimination again. Flight as well. Just one box over. Astro used both of those rifts so far. Going to come down to just simply how well you can shoot in these and build in these close range moments. Weapon upgrades on the ground. Actually not picking up that legendary assault rifle, but maybe in the heat of the moment just missed out on it.
I think he's just more focused on not losing his positioning.
Parasec.
But yeah, Parasec, who we saw almost get knocked out pre-top 25, is now desperately trying to keep that ramp going from some fire. But now everyone else on the low ground needs to be a little preoccupied, because we're moving over one of those slightly awkward brown hills. Astro is desperately, he got it. He got the edge of it. That player will be coming down. Parasec, if he doesn't have anything, and he doesn't, he falls, and Astro finds him anyway with a nice little alley-oop into the top 5.
And that was Astro's way of claiming the high ground. And now look, Astro on the height, shoots down on one. spraying down on another now with the combat shotgun. 4 players left, top 5 earned. Will he get the last placement points that everyone so desires with the victory royale? Lanouf, we watched him earlier. Brilliant plays inside the boxes, still has all you could ever want for this late game scenario. Just peering on down, waiting for this player to edit on through. A nicely placed ramp does block that shotgun shot though, to save that player another day. Stink comes in. Not sure if he's getting any tags at the moment. I believe there's one player close, but jumps over the Stink for a moment. And now it's Lanouf versus Astro. 1 versus 1. Astro still on that height. Both players low on builds, about 20 left. Lanouf takes a little bit of damage. Trying to challenge that up. Astro just holding that right side. Lanouf down to just 3 shield. Popping as many minis as possible as Astro looking to challenge, looking to stay within arm's reach of Lanouf. Knows right now that he's got the full advantage in these final moments. Lanouf, 7 elims to this point. It's all dropping on in. The challenge comes through. Lanouf versus Astro. HP about similar on both sides. Slight edge to Astro. Lanouf, shots coming in. Can't connect with the first 2. Astro with just 1 HP. Wins the game, earns the final points. Brilliantly done there, well on his way to earning a spot on Sunday.
Great effort there from Lanouf. Wasn't able to quite put the builds out. Ran out at the end, got the shots, but didn't hit everything he needs. So Astro SMZ, the young kid from Gambit, taking that one away, getting the brilliant victory royale and running it out. I mean, pretty impressive, right, Lupo?
Absolutely, Sundown. Honestly, Saturday is always kind of the day where I feel like more shenanigans kind of happen. There's a little more craziness, a little more franticness, which for me, I kind of appreciate that on the entertainment side of things. It's, in my opinion, gives us a little more to talk about as far as insane stuff that happens. But that's not the only thing, the only way that these play out. You have a lot of very strategic players, and they take advantage of opportunities. And one of those things, we're actually going to look through a couple different plays real quick. Honestly, Saturday starting right here. Lowless, the top-down ownership of as much as he can of the map. See here, all the way up top, always very cognizant of what's going on around him. Peeking down from above, drops in and gets a couple shots off real quick. That elimination right there, and immediately you notice he looks back up to see who's going, if there's anybody rotating in from above. Does get a shot there and a baller, and here's the float in. A little flick up there and picks off an elimination. Meanwhile, Zuzo, I think an example of poor awareness potentially on some opponents' parts. You see lasering one opponent down right there as they were looking up out the top, and right here just kind of waiting his time. That fish does not necessarily see what's coming there. To combat shotgun shots from above means an elimination. Excellent example there of Zuzo showing players maybe not necessarily listening, and that's not the only player. Freder here dropping in a couple quick edits, drop it down, watch that right there. Places the pyramid, catches himself, and then immediately edits the corner out to drop in and get another elimination. A lot of quick plays there. Zuzo, meanwhile from above, very accurate, taking ownership of both the high ground here and maybe the lack of awareness from the players underneath. Another quick headshot there, picking up a second elimination. Freder here, the edit on the outside, he's just kind of waiting, biding his time, taking the shots when he needs to take them. Catches that first player, but does not forget the fish is still inside the box and picks up the back-to-back very quickly. A ton of good examples. That's why I think Saturday is always one of the best days to see these quick reaction shots, the fast flicks and aggressive plays from players that, well, I mean, we love to see it in Fortnite. We've seen it a ton in the past. And even with the changes that are coming out, things haven't really, things are still high paced with the players at this skill level. Zuzo, as we saw a couple times in the middle of all those, well, a player to keep his eye on. Freder on top of it as well. It's just, the rate at which these players react to what's happening is incredible. Now, the standings, as you see here on the screen, Lowless, one player we saw multiple times, has played only 4 of his games. And I don't know, hopefully people are seeing this. This is 4 victory royales in 4 games played. That's 100% win rate thus far. And literally the place right below him, 10 games played and only 1 victory royale. The rate at which players are playing these games definitely shows that there's a big difference here. 67 points all the way up at the top there in the top 10, finishing out at 54. Not a massive spread, and you still have a ton of games left to play across the board here for a lot of these players. Only 4 though, that's 6 left. It would not surprise me, 67 all the way at the top, that's going to be a triple-digit point placement by a mile, in my opinion. So we've got a lot of top-down ownership, a lot of really fast reactions, and it seems like quite a few players maybe not playing up to par necessarily, a couple caught off guard in the middle of all that. But to see more of that, we're going to throw it back over to the boys over the casting desk. Gentlemen, if you could, please take it away.
Thank you, Benny Boo. Sundown, is that the first time we've seen a player 4 wins in 4 games? What?
I think so, to win the first 4 out of 4. I know that in their 4th game, but I don't know if we've seen 4 for 4. And I mean, a really impressive way. That's basically going to lock him in for Sunday. So now it's all about just keeping that momentum riding.
Ladies and gentlemen, there are powerful weapons out there in the history of online entertainment. Thor's hammer, the Infinity Blade, and now the semi-automatic sniper rifle, Zizri. The power to strike down his opponents in the most fearsome of ways with this scoped weapon of the gods.
I'm shocked that we're even seeing it today, because for me, it feels like for the comp players, it's kind of a trap. Right? Like anything else that uses heavy ammo, you're gonna get more effective DPS out of it with the first shot accuracy. Like particularly the suppressed snipe, the heavy snipe, all end up doing the job a little bit better. I mean, even if you're looking at the hand cannon, you kind of get it a little bit better, as we're on board here with Lowless, as he was sitting at 50 points. So probably another huge game coming out from, again, we're not exactly 100% live. We will be pulling games from the top of the leaderboard as you can as well. But now doubling back to semi-auto, when it was introduced, it was one of my favorite weapons because I have a hard time with the projectile, just tracking it through, and I like not having to reload and take it out. So it helps me if I don't hit the first shot. Odds are good I'm gonna hit the second or third. With that being said, I'm surprised we see players. Honestly, he probably has it as just like a pick potential weapon, but you almost get more DPS out of an AR. So not really sure what his game plan is with that there.
I would rather have a bottle of Windex and a roll of paper towels to fight my opponents.
I challenge that. We can 1v1, you can have the Windex and I'll have a semi-auto sniper.
Hey, you never know. You really never know.
It would be quite the challenge indeed now as we get inside of that first placement threshold, top 25, and you can see Lowless again with a great position and great angles covered from all sides despite being in the center of that zone. And you can see the scoring format over in the top right. Top 25 is 3 points. Next one, top 15, grants you 2 more. Top 5 is an additional 2, and then the Victor Royale gets 10 as Lowless pops that Shadow Bomb and gets on jumping.
Lowless floating on in, you just see all the way across. Mountains, it doesn't matter what's in his way. He's gonna get the high ground. Every single time we've gone to Lowless, seems to be towards the top side of the height. As now Luke Boy Scram, shots coming on in. Has a great little inventory. Not a ton of spraying potential though, with only 102 small ammo.
Yeah, needs to kind of focus on pushing through people's boxes with the heavy sniper and covering his sides. Does get ownership of the wall next door, but is getting pressured a little bit too much. Not sure if that player recognizes it, and instead is going to opt to just be a little defensive and pop on out for him again. Snooze lose, caught snooze and picked up inside the top 25 as Scram, the player who qualified in week 2, part of the Loot Boy duo with Mexi, picks up the rocket launcher as well from that one.
And goes from only like 105 SMG ammo to a legendary assault rifle with 485 shots.
Yeah, so he's gonna have more than enough pressure there as these builds end up going. You can see Lowless constantly hawking for players. He's not just playing for players, but as the player jumps out, hits a 180 attack, and he says, all right, I'm gonna leave.
Yep.
Don't wanna get hit with that. Pops a mini and immediately gets it taken away, so instead opts to drop down, catches himself with the Shadow Bomb, so no fall damage there. Also waits as long as possible, so he'll have as much time as he gets over in the other player's box, and what a great box fight between him and Markle.
I don't think Lowless meant to land there. I think it was just like as he dropped, because again, the second you land, if you've gone over those 6 seconds of the invulnerability you get with the Shadow Bomb, the second your feet touch the floor from flying, it instantly takes you out of it. So he just kind of dropped off that mountain, landed, it looked like landed right inside someone's box, and had to make that close range, awkward fight end in his favor.
Now, he'd see there as opting to leave Shadow Bombs. This is the first time I've seen players actually do this, and just left a Shadow Bomb in favor of carrying this rocket launcher and the heavy snipe combo. So we'll see if that will pay off for him. Goes to the launch pad, and a great little dodge there. You see him move his head to the side, and all of a sudden, he's on high ground with that rocket launcher and the heavy sniper. That's terrifying, but Lowless is going up.
Lowless is going up. Scram all the way on the high ground with an RPG. Chris, combat shotgun. AR combination are the weapons of choice right now. Sprayed on down. Beautiful job catching on the side of that mountain. That's why you always want to stay close and connected to it. Gives you so many more chances to catch your breath in these awkward moments. But with the way that the zone is going, oh man, he's gonna have to push through a lot of builds right here, Sundown. A lot of builds.
That 180 was so good. I was almost like questioning, I'm like, why is he doubling back right there? But must have heard the player, and he picks up the elim to get himself into the top 5 and then also get back in the zone as Lowless absolutely destroys Scram there in the close range box fight and picks up the Shadow Bomb for his trouble. So going to try and get himself back up on the high ground as Heatsy has not given up the control since we saw him launch pad up there, and he still has that RPG raining down shots. Binds one onto Chris. You have Lowless in the bottom right, Chris in your top right, popping Freddy, and Heatsy in between as Chris picks up Freddy and pushes into the top 3.
3 players left. Lowless getting shot down with an RPG. Now down to 1 landing on the low ground. That's Lowless down low. Chris tries to land for height, goes to the storm and takes 40 storm damage just to get the height for the moment. Wait, so Lowless is just going to play the low ground while these other 2 fight for height. It's now Chris all the way up top, Lowless on the bottom.
So they both have bandages right now, which Chris probably assumes Lowless doesn't. So he's thinking, okay, I can hold high and just go for a heal out, put the campfire out, and I'll be good. Lowless backs off, puts the campfire down, and they're just gonna fight it out. They fight it out in the box, and Lowless takes it away. Doesn't matter, no need for a heal off. Just push your opponent anyway, why not?
Of everyone we've been watching in these games, it looks like Lowless is one of the best at the very close range combat shotgun fights. That was like, what, 4 or 5 we watched him win that game alone, where it's like, in the same box, you can't escape, you can't edit out, it is just who will hit their shots, and Lowless has yet to lose one in the matches you've seen.
And the big change between the combat and the pump in terms of that is the fact that it's not a single shot. So yes, all of these players are accurate. Yes, they are gonna hit their shots, but who is more adjusted to the faster rate of fire and who can get those shots off at max speed and max accuracy, and that's what it looks like Lowless is doing. And we haven't seen a ton of players who have quite nailed that yet. And honestly, with how quickly these updates happen and how much everything changes, if you can get a bead on something like that and you can learn it just that much better, that might be the edge you need.
Yeah, absolutely. Is Dark right now, 39 points at the moment, 5 stinks, which, you know, the joke for a lot of people when you have that many stinks is it's almost like a free elimination. When you play duos, when I played someone like Cloaksy, he'll literally call, oh, we have 5, 6 stinks. That's just, we decide who we want to take down and we're gonna get them because of how useful those utilities are. And it looks like Dark has that exact idea right here. 1 stink out, 2 stinks out, already 20 plus damage done. Gonna continue to go. Another tick, another tick, another tick, Falcon down.
So one thing I will note there that Dark didn't do fantastically is the fact that stinks, when you overlap the volumes, you don't get increased damage. So your goal is to throw one, find where they moved, and then throw it again on that path so they're not overlapping. The second one wasn't so great, but it allowed him to track the path, so he threw the third one down and he got it, getting him closer to that top 25. 26 players remaining as we are down by Lazy Lagoon, and now Aziz goes down, so everyone getting the 3 points in the next rotation will come out.
Look at the high ground right now. All the way up top. How do you pronounce this name?
That's 7SSK7 from Virtus Pro, one of the Russian players who came out, actually qualified last week with his partner Jamside, and we've seen Jamside going back. We've seen both these guys forever, since Summer Skirmish, being one of the representatives who have come out, and I mean, just brilliant. And one thing too, like, the Russians, they have such a great way of going about playing the game in terms of how methodical they are and how they find their drop spots, how they go over it, and how they're able to push an aggro. He knows he can take advantage of players like that Carl 7F going down.
That player, it just was like a blur how fast they go down. So the name pronounced 7SSK7. Still playing the height right now, probably having that internal debate. Do I build out from here? How do I play this one as the zone's gonna begin to continue to go on up? Seems like right now waiting for what's gonna pop and where it'll have to go. Builds coming on through. Kali floating on in with the redeploy, 50 builds left.
No utility outside of the heavy sniper and that redeploy, so either going to look to press into boxes or retake towards high ground, but instead going to opt to spray over with that heavy AR. see him trying to find an edit maybe, but that player covering himself as Akiexo does
internal
get
debate, do I
picked
build
up
out
inside
from
the
here?
top 20. And this lobby
How do I play this one as the zone's going to begin to
really good
continue
players
to go on up?
Kongan,
Seems like right now waiting for what's going to pop and where
is
it'll
up
have to
there. You
go.
have Kali
Build coming
in
on
here
through.
as well.
Kali
I mean, a lot of
floating
these guys
on
can play.
in with
Yeah,
the
and
redeploy.
we're
50 builds left. Part of the point is going to
no
hold us off
utility
50-point
outside of
lobbies.
the heavy sniper and
These are definitely
that
very
redeploy.
solid
So
players,
either
as
going to
you
look to press into boxes or
Kali,
retake towards
now
high
up
ground,
to
but
100
instead
wins. Ooh,
going to
quick
opt to
reaction
spray
time.
over
Sudden
with that
build that
heavy
player in the
AR.
zone. It says,
See him
peace, I'll
trying to
redeploy
find
away.
an edit maybe, but
And
that
for all
player
that, only
covering
takes
himself
22 damage.
as
Not too bad.
Akiexo
That
does
internal
get
debate, do I
picked
build
up
out? Will look back,
here.
see if he can get any
And
shots
this
down. How
lobby
do I play this player as the zone's going to begin
that
to
he's still
continue to go on up?
Kongan SS
Seems like right now waiting
up
for
on
what
that
to
high ground,
pop.
working his way down.
Build
You
coming
have
on
first here,
through.
in the match
Floating
as well.
on in
Elocrats
with the
down
redeploy.
there
50
as
builds
Dart
left.
does
Part of
find
the
the
point is
no
going to hold us off
utility
50-point
outside
lobbies.
of heavy sniper and
These are
use that
very solid
redeploy.
players.
Doing the tactical assault rifle to just spray shots down. Zane's gets picked up as we get closer to the top 5, and we've moved over the water as well. So getting the rotation out here is going to cost you at least one extra mat. Noodle Kong in, going down outside the top 5, and everybody's pinned against that backside of the storm.
Jesus.
It's chaos, and right now 7SSK7 is just like fish in a barrel, might be an understatement.
Yeah, he's just like, hey, have fun down there. I'll chill up here. Still has a rift as well to go. 7SSK. 5 players left, made it to the top end of the placement without actually winning the darn game to get those extra points. Here's a heavy sniper go off. You got to expect someone's in someone's box and says, you know what? Hey, that sounds like a great idea. I'll do the same as Mokar. Now cut down, and 7SSK doesn't skip a beat. Right back to the high ground.
Straight up, and now you have Kali on the mid ground. Gen2 just above ultimate low, and then Screamy down there. And the Virtus Pro player has so much more than all of these guys in terms of effective health, in terms of mats, in terms of utility. And right now, it looks like he's going to have them in terms of points as well. Working top down, you have 7SSK7 in your bottom right, Vex and Screamy in your top right, but picks up an Elam there, which actually gives Screamy the high ground right as 7SSK7 drops down to challenge. So Screamy now is going to be the one who dictates, blocking him off again, not able to find the edit back out, can't find the peak shots. He drops down and instead catches back-to-back headshots. Victory route going over, and he says, hey, I shoot my shot.
Ballin, 119, 136 with the combat shotgun right there. If you play a lot, you know just how tough this can be. Brilliantly done right there.
Absolutely insane. I mean, there's a reason he qualified for the duos. There's a reason he's at the top right now as we're on board with E11's items. So one of the most recent signings happened, I believe, less than 48 hours ago. E11 being the gaming organization coming out. They're mainly NA based, but they are owned by the Toronto Maple Leafs winger, Zach Hyman, actually out there. Yeah, really, really good guy. Super invested into Fortnite.
Oh yeah, and they continue to build out their roster. I saw they've been signing people left and right, it seems. As or making roster adjustments.
And also, he's now a teammate of Stompy and Tashinkin. Stompy being so far the premier all-star of everything World Cup, winning pretty much every duo week, been top 3 twice in solos. So definitely a couple of solid teammates going on there. But
you know something we don't. 4 Rift to goes though. 4 Rift to goes in the hands of that player.
Orchage, speaking of, like, are these players just setting up their own little like inventories? Like
100%.
Just a nice little tunnel out there, has all the shields in the world. I mean, honestly, at some point, you just pop that slurp just in case it's denial, right? As we hit the top 25, so first round of placement points go out, everyone jumps up 3, and there it is there on the right side. The format, everyone is playing for top 25, 3 points. And top 15, 2 more, and then what else we got?
No, then you obviously see top 5, the Victory Royale there, all for the placements. Orc needs this though, and here's why. Look at the AR ammo from 15 in his assault rifle to 249. That's why Orc did that. He loves having this inventory up here, right? The big shield, the slurp juice, all that extra shield. You know, you can't carry it all, so you might as well peek a little bit more, maybe be willing to deal more damage, and hey, if I get a little bit more of a firefight, I can heal on up to full. But Orc had so little ammo that he wasn't able to do that. Now, solved that problem, can look to get more aggressive with the shots downrange.
Yeah, you can't look to trade if you don't have medium ammo. That makes it a wee bit difficult, particularly in these circles when players aren't necessarily stacked right on top of each other. But now on board with Gambit, Astro, SMZ, another one of those young players, not recently signed by Gambit, but one of the later signings by them, has been popping off and is looking for a decent amount of space here. However, Torque is directly above him, staring at him with a boom bow through that edit, and he knows it.
Yeah, boom bow, a horrifying weapon when it gets shot at you because it just causes mass hysteria. Again, Astro just playing with that pyramid edit that, you know, is so popular. You wind up just building the pyramid, then you hop on into it when it's fully closed, and then you edit through just to make sure, you know, no one really has any idea you're peeking through it. By going on top of your ceiling and going in between the pyramid and that ceiling, you no longer edit that floor, which would typically break through your pyramid, giving away that you're there. Now it just looks like, hey, there's just an innocent little pyramid there. Instead, there's actually someone waiting and peeking through it, looking for an elimination.
Yeah, and we saw Mr. Savage really start to revolutionize that there. As Astro waits on the backside of the storm until the last second, checks to see if anybody launchpads shadow bombs to the far side, and then turns back, gets an elim, gets a second elim, and then gets all of that utility rift to go, and a launchpad, and more shadow bombs. Let's go, baby.
Yeah, Astro's gonna fly away, and what's funny about the play right there is for maybe a lesser player at home, you'd think, oh no, don't run into the storm, you're gonna take storm damage. Well, remember, in these competitive modes, we have the siphon settings on. He can take 2 ticks of the storm for 10 damage each, but then set himself perfectly up for that elimination, as you saw, and then get 50 health back, and it's like nothing ever happened. So,
and more importantly, too, if you take those 2 ticks, but it means you don't get an AR shot, it's still more worth. You're saving 10 HP. It's all about being as efficient as possible, getting as many points as possible. As we get close to the top 15 now, and there it is. Blue finds Orgage, and he finds Flamin right away, looking right on the backside of the storm. That's what we talk about, why it's a powered position. Everyone is desperately trying to run away from that 10 tick a second storm right there, and they just get picked up. Blue being the benefactor there, as now we're into the top 10, and Torque is looking to work from the top down.
And on the edge of this mountain, it looks like it's going to kind of go lateral to it. So it's not going to force everyone up the side, but you'll definitely have a lot to connect to. Shooting builds down will not be easy here by any means, as Torque has moved on up, uses one of those shadow bombs, and again, right back, peeking towards players who have their backs to the zone.
And this is such a good spot because he knows he's double covered above, and he has the mountain to his left, so there's no one who could possibly shoot at him.
There's no
These
threat.
are free shots, and then, as soon as he's forced to rotate, pop your shadow bomb, decide whether you're going up or down. He's gonna go far side of the zone, and then turn right back over.
Preemptively lands one build above, takes control of it right away. Brilliant shots of the combat shotgun. Top 6 now. Whoever drops next misses out on those crucial 2 placement points you get for making it to the top 5. It looks like Blue and Pickus are the 2 weakest players at the moment. Torque still continuing to move, sees one player above. The spray comes in, and bro, the combat shotgun, with how pinpoint the accuracy is and how good these players are at tracking opponents, it is absolutely the best weapon for shooting players out of the sky.
It's so good right there, but you see Blue picks up 2 in the storm
as
Torque then picks him back over. So now you have Torque in your top right, Item in your bottom right, and it's a straight up 1v1. Item on the high ground, Torque on the low ground here, Courage.
Item, 37 total builds. Torque getting 1 layer closer, looking like it's time to begin to make some sort of play, and they're gonna rift. They're both gonna rift, and it looks like Item's gonna try to land first, but Torque lands in the zone to get the high ground. And this can come back to bite Item.
Yeah, that Item now doesn't have the HP advantage, and Torque has a campfire, and he has the shadow bomb to work top down. As it's going over old builds, he's in no rush here. Torque can just wait this out if he wants.
This could be a disaster for Item in these last moments. Trying to build on through, but look at how stacked these builds are. Thankfully, does find a little bit of an opening to continue to walk on through.
You can't miss these combo swings. Now we talk about stressful moments.
Oh, he's got 4 campfires!
Oh.
Torque has 4
He's chilling.
campfires! Oh, it is done.
Hey, you got any marshmallows?
Oh, it is done.
Any chocolate? Maybe
Oh
a graham
my
cracker
goodness.
or 2?
This man just sat in the storm for 8 minutes, filed his damn taxes, and ordered a reservation for 2 with a nice date tonight. Jesus Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have that pizzatini chilling for him when he gets back there. I mean, that was brilliant. I mean, looks like he even had 3 more to spare. So the limiting factor there wasn't the campfires. It was actually the amount of space and the permit the fire department gave him to put those down. They say, nope, 4 campfires is enough. You'll take that ticks over. And a fun fact, once you have the 4th campfire down, you're only then taking 2 tick from that storm going through. So that's 50 seconds that you can just chill there.
Jesus, he had all the time in the world, it appeared. Freck peering on through. Just playing around the ball now. Uh-oh, in one of those awkward moments, the ball's kind of between the floor. He's trying to get it to pop out. They go, no! Oh, gosh.
Oh, the second swing, and we talk about how paper thin those ballers are now.
Yep.
With only 150 HP, which if anything makes that original 300 mark seem a little bit more nuts. But now Call Me Phantom just gets sent all the way back there as Freck is able to pick that one up. And he also is sitting on 5 Shadow Bombs, which with the reduced availability and the reduced stack side, that's a lot of rotation available to him.
Meanwhile, in previous weeks, having 6 was like the easiest thing to achieve, I think, in games.
Well, because a bunch of people were leaving them too.
Yep.
You know, people hadn't necessarily used them, but now when you see glider redeploys or shadow bombs around, you kind of get a little excited as we get closer to the end of it, and Alk doesn't give Prof even a second, only hitting kind of half of the pellets there from the attack, but it being good enough in that close range.
6 stinks. What? I was like, did he just sink himself accidentally? But no, Freck is 1 box over.
But again, we talk about needing to maximize the volume of the stinks. If half of them is going to be in your own box, you know a player's not there.
Yep.
Like, you got to maximize everything. But now back on board here with Not Bad Sniper. And let's see if he's able to be a not bad builder again. We've seen him do so much
I don't know if he
on
needs
these
to build.
Saturdays.
I think he's got a baller just down to his left. And another game we tune in, another game he's got a rocket launcher. So pretty good combo to have.
I might go check out this guy's drop spot afterward, because he always, every time we see him, I don't know if it's, because typically we'll see him be on 3 or 4 elims here as we go into the late game, but now with only 1, I mean, he's probably hitting some good loot spots.
Question for you, because I actually don't know this. For the higher tier loot areas, like what, can you get a rocket launcher out of one of those drones? Do we know? I think that would be interesting to find out.
I'm not sure what the exact drop percentages are on that loot table yet, so I will have to like go back through and look. I don't want to misspeak to it, having not gone through and like double check the data table on it and what's in there, but I can definitely get that breakdown for you later.
Because if I find out, you know, if you find out that, hey, you can get a rocket, you can get a heavy sniper from those little drones in the higher loot areas, I think it teases you even more to want to go there, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is kind of an incentive to go there, particularly now with kind of the adjustment that has happened. Players talk about it being that much more difficult to find that combat shotgun and finding like it's enabled them. So, hey, maybe going to one of those hot spots when it's going off presses you forward, it creates a little bit more in-game action. I'm just saying from my personal experience, I haven't gotten one. I've only landed there 4 or 5 games, so I've gone through during the arena, so that would be what it's basing off of. But I'll double check, see what's in the data tables there and see if we can't get a little more accurate breakdown of that.
On the high ground, a couple players challenging Not Bad Sniper. One of them hits the launch pad yet again and will soar all the way above everyone and peer on down.
Yeah, and you do see WGS Jag get taken out there. That is one of the players who flew over from South Korea, is competing in the European region. Also have Benji Fishy on board in this match, one of the duo qualifiers who is out there. Not Bad Sniper. Gonna reset for a second, pop the campfire down, and just top himself back up.
And with that last elimination, Not Bad Sniper actually jumps up to a maximum amount of rockets. So a Not Bad Sniper, you see all these builds coming on in, realizing I've got to live. I have so many rockets for late game. I've just got to make it a little bit further. Placement points coming on through, now up to 52 points so far today. Good showing so far, but you got to continue to push as far as you can. Build coming on through. Is that another rocket launcher? Double RPG? Do you go double RPG right here?
I mean, we've seen the Mongrel special. We've seen it work out incredibly well, but that's generally been from the high ground. I mean, you talked about it. I get scared now just from that wood experience about firing off rockets in the mid ground, as now we're inside the top 15. And Dreda just hanging out on this low ground, trying to get whatever excess mats he can, just being like, I'm in a baller, I'm in no threat, please ignore me and let me get my free placement points.
Thanks.
Yep, he's just saying, please don't shoot me. It's not as thick as it once was, but that glass, you know, kind of been tempered down a little bit and will get poked through, but you know, still allows him to rotate, allows him to use less builds and get over on the far side and have a little bit of an effective shield since he is below 150 effective HP here.
The question is, does Andretta try to make a hero playing over the high ground or just keep floating on through? Once you get to the top 5, the only other points you can earn is by Victory Royale. There it is. Andretta now making a move, goes up for a moment, and then drops right back down.
Yep, he's good. He's saying, hey, just don't mind me. I'm still in a ball. And honestly, shocked to still see a full HP ball hanging out around here. And he's going to drop right on out. 3 shots onto Freck. Does get traded out right after those, so not going to get that siphon off, and he's still just hanging out.
And that was a bold play. That was for the top 5. If he dropped right there, no extra placement points. 4 players left. Andiza, Coley. It's like
XD, a lot of XDs going in there. Yep, but
and there it is. Finally, the play comes in. I was wondering when Andretta was going to use that baller to go for the high ground. It looks like he's had enough. Shots coming on and catches Coley off guard as Coley's farming the tree. 1 versus 1. Andretta, who basically played the whole game with the baller until the last moment. 175 health. 1 player just below. It's XD. XD not building at all.
He's out of builds.
No mats. Yeah, exactly. I was waiting to see if he had any, but it doesn't appear so. Spray coming on through. Andretta has enough. Can dictate when it's time to drop on down. Andretta also with a campfire. Not sure if XD has anything in their inventory to use to try to help heal in these last moments.
It looks like he has a number of campfires there, actually, and we've talked about then having a ton of resources, and he's going to double back. He's looking for it, and instead he's just going to drop down and finish it off. Brilliant job from Andretta, and we talk about it. Hey, if you're going to hang out on a baller, if you're not going to capitalize on those elim points early on when you're going through and you're just going to have those resources, you better close that match out.
Andretta, I think, got every single player in the top 5 at the end there. So Andretta, monster end game, brilliantly done, hopping out of the ball at the perfect moment to seize that opportunity. That's going to do it for Sundown on Eye of the Cast at the moment, but we're going to catch up with Lupo to bring us up to speed.
Sundown, Courage, thanks a ton, guys. I don't know if you noticed, but it feels like I'm actually in Lazy Lagoon right now. This thing is wild. I'm going to try really hard to not walk through the screen, but this is going to throw me off the whole time. I can't look directly at it. It's nuts. They gotta have a really cool system with the camera and the angle of this. I don't know if you want to just dip down and show them how it changes like that. This is wild that they did this. It's a feature. It's a really cool feature, actually. But on top of that, we want to take a look back at a couple little one-offs. The plays we just took a look at moments ago. We saw quite a few. Again, the awareness level of some of these players is through the roof, and others not so much. The top-down ownership of pretty much every single game has been one of the most important things we've seen. Lowless, honestly, unsurprisingly at this point, another set of plays here. A very similar position we saw him in previously too. This ownership of the above, taking shots at players that are rotating in, back-to-back hits as players are flying through the air. And this kind of positioning, you see Lowless in spots like this very, very often, where he owns the angle on everyone that is mid-movement. He's already in the safe zone. He sees players flying in from above, even the same elevation below. He's just taking shots every chance he can. And then right here, these timed rotations, shadow bombs, the combat shotgun, and angles are just, it's a plethora of skills you need to have, and Lowless is showing he's got those in spades right now. I've had the opportunity a few times to talk to some of the players that we've already seen qualify, people that you've seen on stream. The skill list that is required, or at least the hierarchy that they consider the most important things, almost always at the top of the list is the cognizance of gameplay, the awareness, the positioning. Those things are so important, even more so than building and accuracy. Players are putting that all the way to the top, and these replays are a good example of the game knowledge is really king. You have people like 7SSK that are 100% ahead of what their opponents are doing every single time, just in the way that they're thinking about how to play a certain instance, and stuff like this shows. If you're watching from home, if you're trying to figure out exactly how to step your game up, gameplay knowledge, that kind of cognizance is huge. Now, Lowless, we saw earlier, had only 4 games played and 4 victory royales. The next 2 did not come in as wins for him just yet, but he's still all the way at the top of the board. 6 games played, 73 points, a 4-point lead over Mongrel from Secret, and there's a few names up here that we're kind of not surprised to see the top. But as always, Saturday is kind of the toss-up day. We see a lot of players going out of the way to be a little more aggressive than normal. You're going to see people with very high elimination counts, players that are making maybe more aggressive drops, things like that. And honestly, for me, from the viewing side of things, I love to see that, because it does show that these players are versatile in skill. It's not just about strategic positioning and timing. It's not just about playing the slow game and waiting for other players to rotate. It's about being able to be aggressive and push onto people's boxes, take ownership of walls, things like that. And I think as we've seen gameplay change, we've seen a lot of those skills, I think, elevate. and we're going to continue to see those kind of things going forward. This thing's still throwing me off. It's like I'm just going to walk out. I'm going to go loot over there. I know there's a box up top. I can go to the top of the tower. It's all sorts of stuff, man. I appreciate everybody watching. Thank you very much. We're going to throw to a 5-minute break, but don't go anywhere. Maybe go to the bathroom, grab a drink, swing on back. We got more solos. Before you know it, see you in a bit.
The last couple of matches, I really thought that I'd blown it because I really didn't get much points early on. I thought that there was not really much chance, which I think lifted a lot of pressure off my shoulders because I knew there was nothing to lose. I just went for a lot of kills and there was no pressure on my shoulders, so it was easy. I didn't expect to qualify. Like, I thought I was going to have to go again next week. So going into that last game and actually managing to do it, getting a 12 kill win when I needed an 11 kill win, I was literally just laughing. Like, I was laughing so much. I don't even know why I was laughing. Like, I was just hysteric.
I'd say this one was really different because you're not used to play against the top 3K player. You need to adapt. You need to play differently. After that last game when I qualified, my brother just came out of his bedroom and we like hugged and I was like super happy. We like jumping around. I'd say right now it's really hard to get top 6 because you never know what's going to happen.
Usually when I just land, I try to get as much mats and loot as I possibly can. I try adapting to the meta and getting as much rotation as I possibly could. And then when I make it to the end game, I try to get as much kills as I possibly can. Usually I like sitting high ground when I know I could probably take advantage of the utility I have in my inventory. But I usually play mid ground when I have a lot of materials I could go waste, or I have other movement I could use, maybe a launch pad onto height. And it's pretty much just like a mix between what I have and what I think I could possibly do with what I have.
Just having the tools and like assets, abilities, and just everything like there and using it is gonna help me advance for sure. And just taking like note of people that keep qualifying. I try to take notes on like just about everything just to make sure I know and I have the upper hand on people, studying how they play and stuff. I have a spreadsheet that I create for each game, so I could recommend this to a lot of players, is that you create a spreadsheet. You make a tally of how many eliminations you have on each game. You make a tally of when you die in the game, and you make a reasoning of how you got eliminated in the match and how you could have benefited it. Duo qualification is the only thing on my mind right now. It's not just for me anymore. I want my duo to qualify too.
My practice normally starts at about 8 a.m. where I just play some creative and mess around and free build for a little bit. And then at about 11 a.m. I'll start playing some low-level scrims just to practice a little bit. And then I'll VOD review a little bit too. And then when 5 p.m. starts, that's when I play the pro scrims and get like the most practice until about 12 a.m. I like to have other people VOD reviewing. I don't really like to self-VOD review that much. I do it sometimes though, but having other people look at your game can make you really see the mistakes that you can't actually point out yourself because you just don't really see them as mistakes. So then when you have someone else come in as a third party and looking at what the mistakes you're doing, it can really improve on your gameplay. You're never going to improve if you don't take action on yourself and realize the mistakes that you're doing. You're just never going to get better. You got to fix your own mistakes to improve on the game.
My final games was pretty good, to be honest. I ended up in top 5 and top 3 with a lot of kills, so that definitely made me qualify. Celebrating with the other guys was amazing. We were having fun and celebrating me, just having a great time. It's my first trip to New York and USA in general. It's very exciting. It's a big moment of my life.
Yo, what's up, Fortnite fam? DJ Zeke in the building. Do you want to be part of a Fortnite festival featuring your favorite Fortnite creators, characters, and celebrities? Well, then you need to hit up the Block Party. This 2-day event on June 15th and 16th at the LA Forum. Tickets are just $35. What are you waiting for? Day 1, the first ever Fortnite Creative Showdown. Celebrities, gaming personalities, and a few lucky fans will fight for fame in this player-made game built by Team Evolve. Day 2, the Celebrity Pro-Am returns. 50 celebrities, 50 pro gamers, all pair up and battle for a $3 million charity prize pool. I can't wait to party with you, so get your tickets now and I'll see you at the Block Party.
and welcome back. Week 7 of the Fortnite World Cup Online Open. The solo qualifiers are well underway here in Europe. Just had a great time casting with Sundown. The action already fantastic so far today, but it's time to hand over the casting reins to 2 other fantastic gentlemen. The games are ready. Golden Boy and Dr. Lupo, come on in, take over the casting stage. Have a good one, gentlemen. Crush it. Crush it.
The only way I know how, bro. You see how much I weigh? Just sit down, and then I'm just on it, baby.
You're giving me too many opportunities right now, and I love you to death, Alex.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm not. Here's the thing. I don't trust you, and when you and I are together, things are said. So I'm not going to give any moment. I'm not going to give you any chance. Anyway, we're excited. It's time to jump into some EU Fortnite solos. Let's hop on into it. I'm not going to give you the chance, Lupo.
Don't worry, I'll find my way. I always do. You know that, Golden Boy. Lolis, kind of the star of the show so far for Europe, and honestly, does not surprise me in the slightest. We've seen a ton of really, really well executed plays here. A ton of accurate shots. You see even right there, beaming a player on the rotation in there. Zenith was taken, about to be potentially eliminated. Not too far away from a number of other players and almost the same box. You see players rotating through the air. A lot of opportunities here for players to try and third party or just kind of gatekeep as people are making their moves right here.
That's right. And you saw earlier 15 minutes remain for the queue times of Europe. Top 1,500 will qualify for tomorrow's big game, where 8 spots will be up for grabs in Nikiva, all the way up on the high ground here. And there you see the spots and the qualifiers per region. Oshi, everyone will get a spot this week. The numbers vary per region, but Nikiva hitting those shots from the distance onto Dark Bull gets the elimination.
Potentially a chance for other players to take note. Having L2 in your name doesn't do anything good for you. You will still get beamed out of midair.
It's like having TTV in your name.
Smile.
You know?
Or
smile.
even the smile, even the little smiley face.
Doesn't really do much.
I wish it did. Could you imagine if it granted you superpowers or something like that? No?
I would do it. Actually, speaking of TV, we saw the TTV and the TV right at the end there.
Golden Boy in positions like ours, as they say, once a bot, always a bot.
It's true.
Right?
I live my life in a very robotic way.
Wait, 2 attempts here. Go round 3. Still can't make it. Let's go for number 4.
Let's go for this next one.
And there it is. Landed the jump.
You know what they say? 4th time is a charm.
That's not an actual. What? You were just up there, and then you.
Yeah.
Okay. 4 or 5.
I think maybe Horfai was just maybe looking to see if he could like catch someone off rotation, but not going to really work out.
The quick edit peek through the pyramid was the goal there, but the number of players kind of bunched up over here.
Yeah.
At some point, somebody's got to pop out and go for the shots. Horfai is that player. Gets a pyramid from underneath, catches maybe that player inside and trying to edit their way back up now and take ownership of the floor. The wall block out there, but now's the time that purple AR swap to the combat shotgun. Picks up the 3rd elimination. We're at max builds right now. 150 total. The materials are all full. A flintlock, a combat shotgun, to redeploy 6 minis. No traps in the inventory, so it's not perfect, but it's extremely good.
Yeah, this is a decent loadout. I think, you know, Horfai, get up to the high ground. That's when that redeploy is going to become useful. As it currently stands, you're not really going to get much value out of that one. But they're just going to be pushing on forward here, Lupo, and got a lot of players still left alive, 26. And bear in mind, you're going to start to see the first placement points come through once we get to that top 15. So a lot of players have to go. There you see right there, each elimination is going to grant players 1 point. Victory Royale, a total of 10 points. We head back over to Horfai, who's just trying to play defense, even get ownership, or not really take ownership, but just try and hold this off there. And with that flint knock, was able to get a down. That was very well done onto Lorlin. That's 4 eliminations.
We had a conversation on stream a couple days ago about the flintlock, and I'd like to bring it back up with you. The flintlock is kind of the jack of all trades weapon. It covers pretty much everything that you might imagine you'd want it to do. It can be a sniper rifle from a distance, especially if you get a crit with it. Up close, you can treat it like a shotgun and go for those close range flicks. It's an impulse grenade.
Yeah.
It's a redeploy. If you think
very
about
versatile tool. It's not even like a weapon. It's like a tool because it allows you to do so many different things.
Kind of does everything. It might even It might be a toaster if you've ever tried to make toast with it.
Yeah.
You could use it as a pen if you need
That's
to write
true.
with it. It'd be
That's
very
true.
slow.
I've seen
You're
it.
gonna have
I've
to
seen
shoot it into a wall or a piece of paper.
Multicolored pen, by the way.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's not just black
One of
ink
those
or blue
fancy
ink.
ones you push down. They have all the different. You're out there.
You're going to get orange ink out of that.
If you know what we're talking about, you have one of those. Take a picture of it and tweet it at GoldenBoyFTW on Twitter. Make sure that he sees every single one of those pictures.
I want to see as many of your multicolored pens as possible.
Let's get a hashtag Fortnite World
Thank
Cup
you
in
so
there.
much for that one. But I also want to see Nikiva here, because Nikiva was a player that we jumped on with at the beginning of the game and has been performing very well. Also going to be running with that Flint Knock. I think it's kind of a similar kit from what we saw Horrify use as well.
Nikiva, almost the high ground, almost the ultimate high ground. You do have one player above, 7 remaining. Oxymo Zartex, the 5 eliminations, 94 builds, looking for the 6th elim there, finds it. Gen 2 goes down up to 131 and does have 2 full shields. There's a launch pad right through the door. No opportunity to use it at this point. Zone too small and everyone's going to get pushed north. There's the mini. Right in the full shield.
Oh, it's going to get challenged right side.
The trap.
Trap down, gets the elimination.
Oh my God.
Onto Peach. We're going to be in the top 3 here. So some more placement points. Nikiva, no shields. Zartex, barely any. Horrify is going to be all the way up at the ultimate high ground here. And this is looking really good for Horrify, but the Flint Knock is going to get the high ground. Nikiva, such a smart play. We were just talking about the value that you're going to get out of that Flint Knock, and that is it right there. It is a movement item. It is a weapon. It gives you so much. And now, Nikiva goes right back down to the low. Horrify, Flint Knock as well. And Nikiva is going to get eliminated there, but it's going to come down to Zartex, who has to go outside to try and get that high ground. Horrify is going to go all the way down low, but it's going to get seen. Has to get to the safe area there, and Horrify is going to pull off the victory royale. Zartex went in there for the challenge on the high ground, but Horrify had his number with that blue combat shoddy.
Golden Boy, I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like at certain times the players can hear me somehow because it's another example of we're literally talking about the Flint Knock and the versatility. At the very end of the game, multiple players giving excellent examples, dropping in and using the Flint Knock to save themselves from fall damage, a quick build there, or even elevate themselves all the way to the top. Ownership of high ground on the spot, on the fly. It's incredible the way that players have figured out to use such a weapon. By the way, bottom left corner of your screen, 9 minutes left for Europe to queue in. You're almost done. If you're going to get the games in now, now's the time. Make sure that you're using as many of those opportunities as possible, because if you miss out on maybe just one game that you could throw in real quick to get a couple elims and then re-queue, very important to take control.
I was going to say the Flint Knock really reminds me of early, I forget the season, but when they introduced Impulse.
Yeah.
And we were seeing players, utilize the Impulse nade in very offensive ways and giving them like different kinds of like push opportunities. Oh my word, that was very well done from Lewis. Who, that player, I mean, Vapor's genuinely shocked that Vapor's kind of just like allowed that to happen.
It looked like he was trying to go for the turbo build. You saw him standing there. He had the little blueprint out, so I'm sure he was holding it down. And looks like Lewis got the wall ownership, a quick edit, and that combat
Very
shotgun
quick ownership
shot.
of that. But yeah, you start to see the innovation that these players introduce, not only at the highest levels of competitive Fortnite like we've been treated to throughout the entire of the Fortnite World Cup. That's what you're going to get here. That right-hand advantage, nasty there from Lewis onto Yasa. Yasa just did not have a chance. Lewis played the angles incredibly well. And that is like fundamentals. People really don't think about that, but that is fundamentals of a game like Fortnite, or any game for that matter, that has a camera that skews over to the left side. You just want to play that advantage on your right as much as possible. People don't really, they don't factor that in.
Mr. Savage here. A name at this point has to be extremely familiar to anybody that watches competitive Fortnite. He's shown us countless times why that is. And honestly, one of I was literally about to say, one of the most accurate players with the Flint Knock, and there it is, a 180 headshot down from above. You cannot hold that too long.
The shot with the spin. It's so nasty. Ah, that was
sauce on that one. You got to look out there. Savage collects his loot. 9 rockets.
Picante.
Look, this is one of the best loadouts we've seen so far. Actually, right there, an interesting swap. I think at this point, this late in the game, he picked up the dynamite, dropped the Flint Knock, because right now there's going to be so many players that are stacked up on top of each other in builds. If he can be above or same level, and just drops those dynamites in, he's going to clear out a lot of the build, expose a lot of players to each other, going to force fights, and expose them to him. So he has a chance. That tactical AR, very, very good. It's just beaming players from above. Dealers looks like popped out of his baller there.
I think that play as well is just one of those that, like the stink, you're just looking to impact the lobby, right? Like you're not looking to just win it. You're looking to just ruin everyone's time there because you know that there's
everyone to have a bad day.
Yeah, you know that there's going to be a lot of value for you to be able to pick off players who are exposed or just whittle that number down so you start to get those placement points as well, right?
Speaking of which, we're at 18 players left, 3 more, and we get another set of placement points. They start there at 25 in solos. Savage taking quite a bit of damage at the top of the screen. Dealers taking the high ground. Savage is going to have to rotate in, but meanwhile, at the bottom, Mongrel, the pyramid edit peak, pops the corner open.
Completely unaware. Mage completely unaware at that moment, and Mongrel can just go right back to his hole.
You'll notice too, players with shadow bombs, I don't know if you saw that very quickly, Mongrel he edited a door in. He's going to pop the shadow, go out the door so no one can see him on the rotation. Instead of jumping out in the air exposed and then throwing down the shadow bomb, he's ahead of the game just by having the window open. We're down to 12 players now. The next set of placement points have gone out. A shadow bomb to save the fall damage. 9,000 IQ from dealers here. Didn't even have to waterfall. Was planning on using the shadow bomb in a rotation anyway. Head of the front takes a ton of damage from behind a rotation. A quick box up. The minis into the full. He's not going to have time to pop more than just one as that fish is trying to make their way through. Dealers pushes out the top, trying to elevate himself so he can get any shield off that he can. Right now he's going to need this. He's going to be able to top off here on shield. 30 HP missing. Shouldn't be a big deal, but we'll see here in just a second. Here we go, those dynamite going off. That's Mongrel.
Yep.
I know Mr. Savage, who dropped the flint knock earlier, starting to throw down the dynamite guarantee. He's still out here. Masha in the feed picks up.
And look how high up he is, man. Like all the way up there. And there's like dealers now is just gonna have to play defense. Needs to be cautious about players. They're gonna be in front of him, and now we're gonna be in top 5. Players are gonna earn 7 placement points. Dealers does manage to take out Majid. What a shot there with that gray heavy AR, putting it to good use in the late game. And now we're gonna be down to the top 3 players. Dealers has 2 eliminations, a decent kit here. At the very least, what he's gonna have to deal with that shadow bomb as well. Maybe try and use that in case he's gonna be in a potential situation where he's gonna lose damage on the high ground. But 13 builds remaining now. Mr. Savage up above. Dealer's gonna be in the mid. Mongrel down low. These are 2 players you simply do not want to be sandwiched in between. But Dealers is gonna get the better of Mongrel. Mr. Savage throws down the Splodes. The Splodes don't find the target though. Mr. Savage is gonna be weak as Dealer's gonna be able to take out 2 of the best players in European Fortnite right now as Dealers all the way low, no more builds. Savage, 20 builds, is gonna have the Splodes. This is the moment. The rocket goes down. Dealers with that shadow bomb is gonna get right on top. Oh, he tried to get above him, but it did not happen. And Savage is doing such a good job of just holding this one down, not allowing him because he knows he doesn't have a chance, and he makes full advantage of it. That is gonna be the victory royale, courtesy of the legendary Rockets.
Mr. Savage, that dynamite swap out pays off in a huge way. In the middle of that, we saw suddenly every single build was just getting decimated. And that was Savage throwing down the dynamites. He timed it perfectly, waiting till the very end of the game, exposed everybody to each other. The shift in player count had to have been huge at that point.
Shout out to Dealers though, man. In between 2 phenomenal players. I mean, Dealers no slouch himself, but you have to give credit where credit is due. That is not hard.
GB.
And did the best in the bad situation. No more builds to work with.
Between the 2 of us, 5 or 5 myself, 3 players remaining, and I know that it's Mongrel and Mr. Savage. I'm just gonna back out of the game.
I know.
I'm just gonna back out.
Man, I'm glad there's no like nameplates. You know,
maybe on install. At that point, you know,
there's nothing more you can do.
That's pretty much it.
It's just quit out. Or at least for me. I'm sure for like half of our audience, they will relish at the opportunity to take that fight.
No, I don't need to cry today, so I'm not gonna.
Oh, hello.
Player inside the box doesn't realize. Riles catches him off guard. The push with the drum gun. Picks up that elimination.
Yeah, you know.
Surprise! I'm inside the box. Look out.
You know, and I think like at this level, right? A lot of players, they just have to be aware of that. Always know like what's around you. Like, do you own this? Like, and I know that it's hard to think about that, especially with how tight some of these circles have been and how congested they have been. But you have to factor that in there, and that's a rough one. But we're now going to go over to Laid Back, who's also got himself a decent kit here as well. Going to have 1 Shadow Bomb, but 2 Rift to Goes. And that legendary infantry AR, which is such a nasty weapon.
Thing hits like a bus in the right hands, Laid Back, proving he's got the skill to do it. I'm happy to see we've seen a number of players try that little hop-up floor reset and pulling it off pretty flawlessly here, holding the edit there inside the pyramid. Very common now to see a lot of players doing this, which to me, I mean, at this point, this late kind of in the competitive Fortnite's lifespan here, you know, it's grown and changed over time. We've seen a lot of players develop new and interesting edit and build methods. Like, you kind of see those pyramids on top of fresh builds. I would almost expect there to be a player inside.
It's true. It's true. That it's such a common like peak, you know? You always see people do it. Okay, here we go. Nikolas, with that baller, was able to get away with the baller unscathed. Unlike his colleagues who every single time a baller went out, just got decimated right away.
Sees the player shadow bombing away. He's going to go out and try and pick up a couple materials. He is pretty low right now, 13 builds total. This player surprised from behind a 136, the follow through, and gets that elimination, putting him at 100, giving up 20 HP to the Storm, but a quick little pickup on materials. Look, up to 85 builds now. Does have that tactical AR. Has the combat shotgun. Both are legendary. 6 minis, 2 shadow bombs, and he's in a baller right now. An excellent set of rotation. Mechanics are available.
That's a good kit to have if you're looking to fight for high ground too, with at least 1 trap. When this circle gets smaller, you can force players to not land on you and then own that high ground. We've seen a lot of players do it, kind of like what I'm getting a gander of here, but he's just got to be careful not to lose any more HP off of this.
Ooh.
There it is.
Big throw all the way to the top.
Yeah, he's staying alive.
You don't often see players fly up to the high ground in a baller like that. A lot of times they just kind of stay at the forefront or dangle underneath right here, look like a Christmas tree ornament.
He's also just trying to make himself difficult to fire upon, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Which is, every time we see a baller get picked off, it's like a really easy shot.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And Nikolas still owning this baller. He sees everyone. He knows exactly where. There's going to be 2 ballers in play, him and another one that is still going to be in this game. 8 players remaining now, as we're going to be in the top 8. Next placement point threshold is going to hit at the top 5. You're going to have Sezi up in the ultimate high ground, Laid Back, who we saw earlier. Diego down low. CHICOS as well. And Nikolas still dancing around in this baller. I think this has just been the play, trying to get the high ground. It does manage to get on top of it. When I said it right, he wanted to go after the high ground, just the movement that Nikolas was making. And this player, not building out, not trying to defend, has to get low there, but Nikolas needs to be careful. Will have the Shadow Bomb, though. Bear that in mind, so will take no fall damage. So he transfers on over to the other side, and there's that player that he was going up against, and you know he lost. Oh. There it is.
Got the elimination. The fall damage does take Nikolas out.
Oh, the traps are going to be out. That 1 trap that Nikolas had, and he gets out of there. And Diego does, oh no, that's going to be a CHICOS who's out of there.
Not a ton of players left contesting the high ground. Nikolas does have ownership. Moving forward on the zone. And look at the hill. This hill is going to smear everybody off as this goes all the way up, so everyone has to climb at the same time. 3 players left. Nikolas all the way up top. 34 builds and 3 eliminations thus far. Does have a decent kit for this, but the HP tick out to the Storm there is going to put him down to 73 total. Very, very easy to eliminate at this point. Hopefully a chance for a little bit of a heal here.
Well, Laid Back's just getting chunked.
Out of the Storm.
Just got chunked outside. You had mentioned how nasty that Storm was going to be.